All right, guys, so I'm going to show you a video of how to break down a wild Canada goose. So I usually just skin it out, especially early season like this, and leave the skin on because you don't really have much of a skin in the early season compared to the late season. They haven't really packed on that much fat yet. To start out, I'll give you a show from another bird that I already just did. This is our goal right here. So we have the breast. We have the tenderloin on the inside, still all completely attached. And you flip over and a nice clean skin, no cut marks, straight, and then you can see the cut down where we break through the wishbone. So that's basically what you're looking for the end product. So to start, what you're gonna want is you're gonna want a nice knife for cutting out the breast meat, as well as if you want the giblets and the heart and the liver and etc. I recommend just a little bit of stronger knife to break through the rib cage, which usually isn't very strong. As well, I have a bowl of water just for cleaning my hands and any feathers and etc. So then what you're gonna need to do is you're gonna wanna grab your goose, lay her down back flat, and you're gonna wanna start, you can see the outlines of the breast. So that's the natural breast of the bird that's gonna come down to pit. So to make everything easier for less feathers, you're gonna wanna just start plucking the chest feathers. And you can just use your hands. Sometimes people get a trash bag for the feathers. I live out in the middle of nowhere and I have a big yard, so I just throw the feathers on the ground, let a little rain come, natural decomposition, and it'll work out. So you want to keep going down. You see, you're starting to get to the skin there, and you're getting these little tiny feathers out. It's undercoat, and you'll feel, I mean, I shot this bird probably about an hour and a half ago, and you can still feel he's real warm. Once you get underneath, up top he's kind of cold. He was laying in the water for about 30 minutes before I went out and got him. So you just want to keep going. You're going to find the feathers are much easier up towards the front of the bird. And as you start going back down towards the legs and the hindquarters, it's going to get a little bit tougher to peel off. And you can feel as you're going, you can feel that keel bone going right down the center there. And you definitely want to get off about as far as you can go down the keel bone. It just makes it easier for getting your knife in the bird to cut the breasts out cleaner in a later stage. So you see this skin here, it's probably about not even a centimeter thick. It's pretty thin stuff. So I'm just gonna go ahead and cut that out. Although if you wanted, you can see how far I'm plucking. What you can do, which a lot of guys do, is they'll pluck the bird like this, and you keep going, get as many feathers as you can off with your hands, and then what you can use a blowtorch, and you can burn off the rest of those feathers real quick, and then have a skin-on goose breast if you'd like. Which I'm gonna be making the goose pastrami from the Meat Hunter, or Meat Eaters show, and I'm pretty excited about that, so I don't need the skin on for that. If anything, I think it's just gonna be a little bit more than what I want. All right, so you can see now, I've got a good patch going here, maybe a couple more off the side. All right, so I've gone through the center there, pretty well plucked out for the breast meat. All right, so you want to grab your knife, open her up. Like I said, feel this heel bone, get it nice and level. I'm trying to do this with the camera. And then give it a slit right down along that keel bone. And you can see, you're opening her up, and you can see how thin that skin is. Right now, early season, it's really nothing right home about. So you're gonna wanna go all the way to the tip of the breast. And then now I like to start on the bird's right breast, which is the closest side to me if the head's up. I always feel like it's easiest since I'm right-handed. So then what I'm gonna wanna do is slowly start this skin a little bit. You can see I got a little cut there, that's not a big deal. Once you're going along, and once you get a couple good seams open, you can feel where it starts to just peel with your hands. You don't have to use the knife as much anymore. You will come across some tougher spots, like right here, where you use the tip of your knife and just slowly go around and just keep going down. You see it's opening all the way up down the side. Get my fingers down in there. Get your thumb in there. Really, work it. Get in there. And you can see how you're getting a little bit of feather in there, but not much because of how much I peeled away. And then as you go, you're gonna see the thigh on the inside, down on the bottom of the breast. You're gonna wanna make a little cut through the membrane to remove that thigh bone down a little bit more, which I'll put another video up of taking the thighs out. I usually do it pretty rough because I just feed them to my dog. All right. So you can see the membrane's peeled all the way down. We have the sac for the innards it's gonna be right there. And then now we have this whole nice breast. All right, so now take your knife, get a little water, get those feathers off there. You don't want feathers in your meat. So take the knife, push it up against the side of the keel bone, and just run it down. Nice, smooth, deliberate cuts. That'll leave you with a better looking product at the end. And if it's your first time, don't worry about it. I mean, I've had a lot of practice butchering chickens and things like that, so the anatomy is real similar. But you're gonna come straight down about an inch. And after you come down that inch, you're gonna hit the breastplate, and then you're gonna turn your knife about 45 degrees and then continue following down. Nice, smooth strokes. And then up top here, you're gonna feel the wishbone. So you're gonna go to the side. You're gonna lose a little bit of meat from this unless you wanna break through the wishbone, which I usually don't do. I don't like sharp bones. And then try and cut around that wishbone as much as you can. And then cut down in. Cut down in, make sure you free up that tenderloin, saving as much of that tenderloin as possible. And then keep going in. And don't worry, you're gonna come across some blood. There's a vein down in here that you're gonna hit whenever you're cutting out this breast. Now what I like to do is you're all the way down, you've hit the vein, pull it out. And you can find if you skin down far enough, the seam lines up almost perfectly. So you can just go around like this. And then here's the bone, the knuckle bone. Make sure you peel around that. And then you got your breast out, which one little tiny piece of fat left on it. So, got my breast out, flat. Got a little bit of a sinew on the inside, that'll just clean right off. And then you got the whole tenderloin still intact right there. So with this, then I just dunk it in the water for 1 second, real light. Get all that blood starting to rush off. And I just set her down. All right, now time to flip sides. So I always like to flip my bird, not flip the way I'm working. This side is always a little bit more difficult because your longer strokes are gonna be coming through the meat here. So you wanna definitely make sure you get enough feathers off that you have that angle to come down. So, same difference. A little water, wash off your knife, wash your hands, and then start yet again with just a little slit into that membrane. And that's gonna let you get your thumbs and fingers in there to really peel. You almost want to use just barely the tip of your knife. You almost like you're scraping. Like it almost seems like it's not even gonna cut where you're cutting, but it will if you just give it a little bit of downward pressure. And then keep peeling. If you're real comfortable with a knife, sometimes you don't even want to use your thumbs. You can just use the knife the whole way. So I've got him trimmed all the way down there this time. It's a little slit through that leg membrane again, separating that out so that doesn't get in your way. And then I like to cut a little bit more off this backside. So I've kind of fold this fat around the feathers to hold them down. Same difference. Along the keel bone, straight nice slice, Go about an inch deep. You're gonna hit the bottom where the tenderloin is. And then just use your knife kind of like pulling it away from the bone. And like I said, this side's a little bit more difficult. You just have to deal with the angle of everything. Yet again, wishbone up top. Cut down that wishbone. And then you get to this knuckle joint down here. Cut down through, there you go. And then, yep, get in here and make sure you get all this tenderloin out. That's the best stuff. And then nice, smooth strokes. You want to get the lobe out first before you start doing the tenderloin on the reverse side, because otherwise your knife is going to end up cutting into the front of the meat of the bird. All right, basically all off now. And then one nice, more smooth slice. Come down and around. And then you want to cut through that little bit of membrane, just holding the breast on there. And another nice breast. Left sides always get a little bit of smaller of a tenderloin. You can see there's really not much left in there. This little piece of meat right here, which is fine. You get a little piece of meat like that. And if your dog's your assistant, he'll love it for you. Take it. And that's just good food right there for him. And then otherwise, that's pretty much how you de-breast a Canada goose. Thanks for watching. All right, so we've de-breasted our goose. We've got both of our meat pieces of breast lightly washed and sitting here on the side, ready to go into the fridge. Last thing you want to do, you want to get out that liver. You want to get out that heart. The geese hearts are delicious. And if you get a good liver in the late season, I mean, if you're lucky, you could have something like foie gras. So what I like to do, I get a nice strong knife and I cut right across this seam underneath the keel bone. And then you're gonna wanna rip it up, and you'll have made a cut almost all the way to the tip, and then cut back through. And then now all you gotta do is crack that open. And now you can see we've got our beautiful heart here with no BBs in it. Nice, fresh, clean shot. I got lucky, I hit him right in the head, so not as much there. You got a nice heart. You definitely want to wash that out and then give it a couple squeezes and you'll pump the rest of that blood that's in there out. So we got our heart out, and now this liver is a really nice liver on this guy. Last one I had was real nice too, but this one is much bigger. About the same fat content, not much. So with the liver, you're gonna wanna go around these membranes. Be careful not to cut in too much into the stomach. That's the one thing that always seems the easiest when you're getting the liver, is you'll cut into that stomach pouch and get pretty much the slime of what the goose has been eating. And then you're gonna wanna cut around the outside here. And you can be a little rough with it. These livers are strong. They're not gonna just pop in your hand. And keep coming, keep coming. And then right there, see, I popped it right at the last second, that green that's in there, that got on the feathers, that was the last thing, but that's attached right at the front tip of the liver. But if you cut right, you can get that whole liver out of there without anything on it. And then another dip in the water for the liver, just real quick. And then I'll go inside and I'll pat these dry with a paper towel and get them in the fridge.